as the discussion has concluded. Honorable Finance Minister.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. I share the sense of disappointment that you've expressed in the absence of members who would have otherwise participated in the discussions. The budget was presented especially at a time when India's recovery from the pandemic had to be strengthened so that we have a sustained growth, which is the only sure way to remove the disparity and also build greater strength for our people. The disparity in income about which several members spoke can only be bridged if the development goals are achieved. And by better development, we will certainly be able to achieve better prosperity, better income generation for people, more jobs for people, and therefore, when I speak of Amrit Kal, and I said in the budget that that's the first budget in the Amrit Kal, we will be able to bring in all those factors which play to create a more robust economy, leading to a 2047 when we will see a very developed India, which is what the Honorable Prime Minister has also dreamt of and spoke of, and also has laid the path for achieving it. And that is where the principle which we hold dear, and most of our policies are framed with that principle in our mind: Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, and Sabka Prayas. And that is where the responsibility of the government and the states, responsibility of the government in the center, the states, and also the people of India together will have to build India's economy. So we have faced several challenges, inclusive of the external challenge, the war, the disruption in the supply chains, and so on. But as I mentioned in the budget, we are aiming to bring in greater traction for this growth through the way in which we want to build and empower women's groups, which are spread all over the country, more than about 80 lakh women's groups which are spread all over the country, for whom we shall provide professional assistance and also build their strength so that they can also become manufacturers or service providers. So the budget 2023 balances very delicately the development objectives as much as keeping the fiscal prudence. And therefore this budget, coming as it does at this time, when we're looking at the Amrit Kal, at the same time facing a lot of external challenges, it has carefully managed to provide for the challenges if it emerge, at the same time also brings in more futuristic opportunities for our youth. And in terms of skills, in terms of the AI centers that we're creating, in terms of providing the industry equal opportunity to use all the labs and the facilities for science and so on, we are making opportunities open. The budget spoke for itself, sir, so I don't want to get into details of the budget, although most of the members, when they speak, whether in this House or in the Lok Sabha, do raise questions about how much of the central revenues are being shared to the states. So on that, I would like to take a minute to say total resources being transferred to the states, central share in taxes, that is, releases under centrally sponsored schemes as well. So both put together, the total resources being transferred to the states under the BE 23-24, the budget under consideration now for the forthcoming year, is estimated at 17.98 lakh crores. This is higher by 1.55 lakh crores over the current running year, 2022-23, and by 2.9 lakh crores more than the actuals of 21-22, the year before. So consistently we are increasing the devolution in terms of central share to the states. So this worry which comes in the minds of people is not well founded at all. Actually, the share is going up. The capex as well, the capital expenditure as well for 23-24 is at 10 lakh crores. Actually, in 2019-20, which is the year before the pandemic, it was only 3.39 lakh crores. So within a matter of 3 years, we have progressively increased it from 3 to 5 to 10, 3 to 5 to 7 to 10. So you can see the growth. Whereas if I for a minute go back to the last year of UPA's 10-year rule, 2013-14, this amount was only 2.91 lakh crores. So 13-14 it was 2.91 lakh crores. Pre-pandemic 19-20 it was 3.39 lakh crores, whereas this year we've given 10 lakh crores. And the states will be partners in this massive capital drive. Budget 23-24 has from this 10 lakh crores given 1.3 lakh crores for the state's exclusive use. So because in principle we believe capital expenditure, provision for capital expenditure is actually given us that traction in growth post-pandemic and the year after that as well. So this year too we have given that emphasis, and that emphasis is being shared with the states, where we give them the amount on a 50-year loan with no interest charged on the states. So other than that, there are obviously the details of the budget itself. It has come up with a lot of provision for the middle class, for the employment generation, for MSMEs, for agriculture, for rural population, specific pointed programs and outlays, for health and for green growth. Now I would rather focus on the issues which those members who spoke raised, and I want to clarify on a few things which many members spoke about. Sir, Dr. Shantanu Sen, who spoke, who's here in the House representing Bengal, spoke and said quite a lot of questions.
But he withdrew. He has no hatred.
Oh, I agree.
He said so.
He said, I heard your speech, I heard the FM speech in Lok Sabha, but still I have certain questions to raise. Sir, I want to very clearly say that in the case of West Bengal, amounts pending are not for any other reason but when there are due diligence which have to be followed while submitting the claims for the various schemes under which they are entitled to get money. If they do not submit the relevant documents, whether it is an AG's authorization for the expenditure, or when questions are raised when, such as, you change the name of a scheme which is approved by this parliament, and the money goes to the state, and if the project or the scheme is not carried forward in the very name in which this House has cleared it, it is therefore the department's duty to raise the right questions. So they do raise questions. And when answers don't come in time, the money sits with us. I will just highlight 2 points, sir. GST compensation is a matter on which repeatedly, not just Bengal, but many other states also say, we've not been given. Even now when Dr. Shantanu Sen spoke, net of something has been given, but gross is being based. He mixed up a lot of things, eventually indicating that we have not paid the compensation in total for them. Sir, as I said, compensation is something which states claim with due authorization of the AG. If your AG's certificates don't reach me, I can't really clear the compensation dues. West Bengal's case, I can't see Dr. Shantanu Sen here, but for the record, West Bengal's case, AG certified figures are not received. You know from when, sir? And from that year, every year, sir. 2017-18, no audit certificate from the AG. 18-19, no audit certificate from the AG. 19-20, no certificate from the AG. 20-21, no certificate. 21-22, no certificate. Sir, dues do pile up. I'd actually, through you, suggest that Bengal please sit with their finance department and the authorization, which is so very important for obtaining, should rush it, get it, and send it to us. The moment it comes, we can at least clear it. So if with no authorization, but to repeat that the monies are pending is not fair at all. And if the AG certificate is pending not for 1 year, from 17 every year, I'm really astonished that they keep saying that the monies are not happening, we are not sending it. Similarly, sir, if there is worry about money not going from here, I'm more concerned for the money which is not coming from Bengal to me. We provide the Central Armed Reserve Force for any requests that they may have. We do send them, like many other states also receive. And if we send them, there is a payment that they have to make. Bengal has not paid us for the Central Armed Reserve Force, which was given to them, and the amount is 1,841 crores. Service provided, payment not received. AG certificate not sent, we are sitting with the money. I'll be happy to get the money going to the state. And then of course, I'm glad to hear that he's taken the word back that she has hatred for Bengal. No, sir. Bengal has been the landmark for Renaissance movement in this country. Bengal's intellectuals have paved the way and inspired the entire country during the freedom movement. Many of them. Bengal, because of direct action, had seen massacre on the streets of Kolkata. Any Indian will cry even today if you just see the pictures of Bengalis who died during the direct action. Even worse, because during British Raj, the grains were all sent away for the Second World War, the number of people who died of the man-made famine in Bengal, that state can really bring tears to every one of us, sir, both for the way in which they have provided leadership and also suffered, the common people suffered. So who in this country worth their salt will ever have anything but only gratitude in their mind about Bengal? So not even in my dreams, sir, will I think less of Bengal. That's a land of Aurobindo. And I just cannot but go on thinking of the way in which his speech came out. So there are ever so many reasons that all of us can have great respect for Bengal. But I'm sorry, data and due process will have to be followed. So that's about one thing, sir. If I'm not picking holes in Jawahar Sarkar's speech, sir, also because it's Bengal, I'll come to the others. He said no freedom of speech in this country and said dangerous development. I'm not sure if I was undistracted to count the number of times he used the word dangerous, dangerous. I thought he said dangerous 4 times, disaster about 2 times, but the overall time he spoke was only 6 minutes. And danger and disaster from a person who represents Bengal, where freedom of expression and other things, I just want to give a random example, sir. There was one professor in a university, I'm not sure whether Jadavpur or some university, who innocuously sent a forward of whatever he received, which was not to the liking of the administration there. And the man, the professor, ended up in jail. And for 4 years, he was there languishing And only recently has he come out. I don't know if it's on bail or has the courts had their wisdom to release him in total. Dangerous, disaster, repeatedly. And also worried, this country is worried, no freedom of expression. Bengal, sir, arrested a professor for sheer forwarding a cartoon or something. And the man was in jail for 4 years. I honestly request Jawahar Sarkar ji to go to Bengal and say, Madam, before I deliver this speech, and he was very worried that whether Shantanu Sen or he was worried that I took the Honorable Chief Minister's name. So, 4 times dangerous, disaster. Come on, sir. I would want to appeal to the Honorable Member. There are important things that all of us can speak about. And on borrowing, he's also worried. Let me assure you, India wouldn't be borrowing if only there was a wider tax base. And when did we borrow? At a time when pandemic happened and states needed the money. I remember the role of West Bengal, which kept rightly reminding me about, please, money should go to the states. I fully appreciate that sense. So, I just wanted to highlight that it can't be a one-way street, sir. Extremely thankful to Member Sujit Kumar for having spoken about the importance of sports in this budget. We've made a good beginning. I hope that trend continues. I also appreciate Orissa and its emphasis on sports for having held the men's hockey, which was a very good thing, although India didn't win. So I felt very unhappy. Sir, NPAs, sir, I'm sorry, going back to a speaker, but I want this to be on the record, not wrongly. NPAs, this was answered by my colleague in this house, in the Lok Sabha. But I thought there was a bit of a, if Parliament allows me to say distortion, there was a bit of a distortion in the way the numbers were read. So I want to put it on record to say, we've received inputs from RBI, which says scheduled commercial banks wrote off an amount of 10,09,511 crores in the last 5 years, and write-off is not waive off, and every account which has a write-off, we still pursue them legally to get the monies back and also auction their properties if they don't pay up. So, write-off is 10,09,511 in the last 5 years, and the borrowers of written-off loans continue to be liable for repayment. The process of recovery dues from these borrowers in written-off loan accounts always continues till we get it all off. So the figure and the reference to the NPA may need to be placed on record, sir. So he referred to Oxfam report. I don't want to give credibility to Oxfam report, whose methodology is thoroughly questionable, by elaborating on it. But clearly I would say the methodology is so, and they, in that report that he's referring to, mention it in the footnote, saying we've only done on some items, but not on all. However, the conclusion about GST is for everything. Methodologically, that is completely unacceptable. It was totally wrong. It is only true for GST revenue contributed by the goods that we studied. It's what they say. But they're not all goods which are covered by the GST. So, if methodology itself is wrong, and that's being quoted in this House, I don't want to give credibility to the Oxfam report, but I'm sorry, that's absolutely unacceptable. Poverty alleviation, sir. Just 1 minute. Both the UNDP and the IMF have spoken elaborately on how the free food PM Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana has actually saved people from getting into poverty, dire poverty. And but for that scheme, India would have been really badly off. The relative reduction from 2015 to 16 is also referred here to 2019-21 was faster, says the UNDP report, 11.9 a year compared to 8.1 only from 2005 to 2006. So India's well-tailored program carried out over the past 2 years to support people and ensure they don't run the risk of slipping into poverty seem to have made an impact on the ground. This is a quote from the UNDP report. And so does the IMF report, sir. It says extreme poverty was maintained well below 1% in 2020 due to Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana. This is IMF paper. And then it also says that the expansion of India's food subsidy program absorbed a major part of the pandemic shock. It also says extreme poverty was as low as 1% in 2019, a level substantially below the poverty rates of 2011. So that reference and using Oxfam by itself is not really appropriate, but here are the two IMF and UNDP reports which clearly say the opposite of what Jawahar Sarkar ji is trying to say. So there are others who have spoken. I've spent too much of a time because it's important to put the record straight. My friend, new member, Mohammad Abdullah ji, representing the DMK. Brother also. Happy to hear that. I'll share that happiness. Representing the DMK has spoken quite a lot on very many things.
Honorable members, we will continue with the debate. The reply of the Honorable Finance Minister till her conclusion. Do I have leave of the House for this? The House will sit till conclusion of the reply of the Honorable Finance Minister.
Thank you, sir. I just want to, as all of us have been at one point in time or the other, he's also new in this House. All of us would, of course, work together with him and so on, but a few things which I thought I should, in this context, put forth. Sir, IFSC doesn't get any privilege which commercial and other places get. It cannot, because commercial places, commercial centers are all there. IFSC is not in that sense a commercial center. It is a financial special economic zone. It is an SEZ for financial things. So the rules and the regulations which are being relaxed or provided for in their favor are given because India should also have a global standard SEZ which deals with financial matters. So there are no other such centers in the country as yet. Nothing stops any state which wants to set it up. But as of now, SEZ, financial SEZ, is in GIFT City. So if there are other centers, the same will apply to them. Actually, the act which is providing for the GIFT City doesn't say it in singular. It says in plural. International Financial Services Centers. If you start one in Tamil Nadu, I'm sure that will also get a benefit. But it is not any commercial center in that sense. It's a specific SEZ for creating a global standard SEZ, which is required specifically for the financial sector. We do extend. So another thing is also GST rates, on which there was this comment made, oh, it's all too high. GST rate is not fixed or determined by Prime Minister Modi. It is determined by the GST Council, in which the Finance Minister of Tamil Nadu is also a member. So if rates are not happy rates for honorable member, he should actually tell the Finance Minister of Tamil Nadu to say, I'm sorry, all this has got to be changed. And if other members concur, we are quite okay to change it. Corporate paymasters. I'm not sure any government in any state or the union government can be referred to as doing things at the bidding of the corporate paymasters. I would humbly request the honorable member to himself withdraw that comment, because I can then say data centers are coming up in Tamil Nadu, petroleum refineries are coming up in Tamil Nadu, solar, massive parks are coming in Tamil Nadu. Are they doing it in response to a corporate paymaster? Surely not. So I think we should be a bit careful about those sort of things. And on a lighter note, if the honorable member would take it, he comes from DMK, sir, which I know from my childhood is a party which strongly believes in atheism, doesn't propagate any religion of any kind. Very well. But I was very impressed by the honorable member referring to Rahu Kalam, Yamagantam, Kuligai. All these are Hindu Panchang.
I said what people say.
No, never mind. Never mind. These are expressions which are so typical to Hindu Panchang. In Tamil Nadu, people refer to Rahu Kala. When is it, Yamaganta, we don't want to do anything good during that time. But DMK member referring to this, music to my ears. With that, sir, I want to just say thank you for all the members who have spoken. It's a good day when a DMK member speaks from Panchang. So the one bit I missed out is, in passing, I think, Amar Patnaik, who's not here, said we are neglected by the center.
Dr. Amar Patnaik.
Sorry.
Am I right?
Is he?
I have been extremely careful.
Sorry.
Honorable
Doctor.
Finance Minister, after my wife got a doctorate, I don't make any mistake on that.
Okay, sir.
If any member is a doctor, I say doctor.
Sure.
Because no one can go against the supreme mandate. Honorable Finance Minister.
On us also sometimes. It's in your generosity.
Sir, Dr. Amar Patnaik, sir, mentioned Orissa is being neglected by the center. Not at all, sir. He came up with a list of things, saying on all these. Oh no, we don't neglect any state. In fact, Honorable preempts one line which is repeated. If India has to develop, every state has to develop. And that is why he goes on talking about East, Northeast. He says, even if one state lags behind, that will pull our growth possibilities, pull down. And therefore, he's of the view that all states should be given all the attention and every state should grow equally. So, no, we are not neglecting Orissa. And personally, I have a great admiration for that state. If within my own capacity, I'll never allow that to happen. So there was a brief reference made about the oil bonds and also about this is my last point, sir, I won't take more time. Oil bonds and also about the special bonds with which we do capital infusion into the banks. So first of all, oil bonds. We have already paid 2.34 lakh inclusive of interest. The amount mobilized on the oil bond during UPA times was inclusive of probably a small amount earlier, was 1.71 lakhs. But we've already paid 2.34 lakhs inclusive of interest, and we are yet to pay 1.07 lakh. The last time, or the last payment will be made between 2025-26. And capital infusion in public sector, the special bonds that he was referring to, honorable member was referring to, again, member from Tamil Nadu, Mohammad Abdullah ji. 5 years, different amounts were raised for funding for bringing in the capital infusion for the public sector banks. It will, as he rightly pointed out, end in 2037. But these are very different from oil bond, and I'll tell you for a minute as to why it is different. Oil bonds, first of all, and he did rightly recall that word which I used, and I use it even now. Trickery. It was a trickery. A trickery because you want to give a subsidy to relieve the burden today, like we reduce the excise duty. They could have reduced something or given some incentive or subsidy. They didn't do that. They claimed that they are giving the subsidy, but that amount was, instead of paying the subsidy, they deferred the cash payment by putting it, the petroleum ministers here, by putting onto the oil marketing companies' accounts. This is what constitutes a revenue expenditure. Revenue expenditure does not create assets. It's a subsidy. You give it, finish it. But you gave it, apparently, but the burden has been shifted to the oil marketing companies, and that's getting repaid by us now, by any government which follows. Whereas the capital infusion which we are undertaking since 2017-18, and to say that you've also taken this huge amount, it's going to be paid till 27, yes, it will be 37, yes, it will be paid till 37. But why is it used? It is given as a capital to the bank to promote greater credit availability for Aam Aadmi, common man, to do his business at whatever applicable rate, so that people can build businesses, earn out of it, take care of their family, save money, or pay wages of people who work with them. So that's one. Second, it also helps the banks to have correct capital adequacy ratio. Otherwise, banks will be in a precarious condition, like the way they became fragile and had a twin balance sheet problem because phone calls were made to banks during UPA time saying, give this loan to my cousin, give my loan to my jijaji, and so on. End of the day, bank had no money to lend anymore, and they were all in bad balance sheet position. Now, in order to restore them to health, and today they are restored, I'm very happy to say, I had to keep giving them capital year by year, infused capital, so that their balance sheets improve. And why did the balance sheet come to that level? Because during UPA, you went about calling people and say, hey, give it to this man, give it to that man, the customer may be worthy or not. You paid it all up. Now I have to take care of filling those gaddas. Increase capital adequacy ratio, enhances lending capacity of banks, and as a result, after the 4 Rs with which we restored the health of the bank, Prime Minister almost monitored it on a monthly basis. Today, our banks' healths are all back again. They are today standing on their own. They can go raise whatever amount they want. And this capital infusion is also, if I may be permitted to use the word, the pap created by them, uska प्रायश्चित हम कर रहे हैं. Oil bound भी हुई है, bank भी हुई है. पाप उनका, प्रायश्चित हम कर रहे हैं. So it's good that you brought up, Mr. Abdullah, this point, because it gave me an opportunity to explain. Oil bond भी सफाई इधर हम कर रहे हैं, झाड़ू पोछा, वो भी हम ही कर.
Honorable Minister will have to find some other word for pap.
पाप नहीं है सर. जीजा भतीजा को बिना सिक्योरिटी देना पाप नहीं है सर. ठीक है सर. कोई आप ही एक वर्ड बोल देना मुझे.
I'll take care of it.
Okay. So I thought it was just the oil bonds. But thank you for having reminded me of the recapitalization monies that I had to give. That's also because the entire balance sheet on one side have been scraped out. Now, I have to refill them, which I have successfully done with the guidance of the Honorable Prime Minister. Banks are today on their own, making profit, giving dividend, and also doing the best banking for all the common people. So with this, sir, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity.